All right, hello, welcome back to another video, another month later. Kind of been uploading every month, but welcome to the Unkillable Truck. Almost. In actuality, it's the Hilux, the 22R, but this is damn near the closest thing. So the second best truck ever made is right here. It's the Tacoma, the most bare bones basic thing that you'll ever need, and it's the only thing that you'll ever need. Now, if you ask yourself why I do say that, it is because of this engine. It is very basic. There's very little electronic. There's very little going on in general. So everything that you need is there, and everything that you don't need isn't. So very little can go wrong. It was overbuilt. These things go up to 1,000,000 miles. People have a claim to go 900,000 miles without a rebuild, just maintenance and regular parts exchanged, which is such a huge feat that I don't think anyone back in 1998 or 1986 would think that these trucks would go this far. Do you really think that any car now would go 50 years and still run every day, turning on every day, first try, no problems? And I don't think any car from now or the past 10 years, maybe even 15 years, will do that. It just cannot. It has too many problems, too many electrical features that can go wrong. There's too many faults and too many points of failure. So that is why this thing has overcome so much and has been able to outlast the test of time, which it really has. 50 years, I think, is not this one specifically, obviously. This is a 1998. But for example, the Hilux, the one that we see on Back to the Future, you know, everyone says that they want the DeLorean, but a lot of us actually wanted Marty's truck instead.
Check out that 4x4. That is hot.
Okay, back her up.
Someday, Jennifer.
I think that says a lot. A sports car over a bare bones economy basic work truck. That gives a lot of credit to Toyota and what they made. Right, so why am I standing in front of this truck today? Why is it here? I actually bought this 2 days ago, or yeah, 2 days ago I bought this. I didn't get to clean it up and do everything till now. Plus it's the weekend, so I'm not making a video on it until right now. But this is the new daily. Mazda's getting replaced, bye-bye. Very fun car, but I've just always liked these trucks. I feel are basic designs that just look good. For example, there's another one, but it's just things that were meant to be regular cars. They weren't meant to look like this, you know? This wasn't the purpose of these. They were work, they were to haul things, to carry a lot of load, pounds, you know, around town, taking you to point A to point B every single day. They weren't meant to be lowered, modified, done things like this, but they still look good while doing that. So that is one of the reasons why. The other one is reliability. These things just will not die. They go on for ages and they just keep running, they keep giving more. You know, Top Gear put it to the test already. We've seen it, it's been proven many, many times.
Now, we've seen that it started,
Yeah, it did start.
but did it move?
I can hardly believe this myself. Ladies and gentlemen, here it is!
The 22RE, the 20RE, you know, you even have the 4AGE, you know, a bunch of engines that Toyota has made. And not only that, but like the Japanese market, all the Japanese mini trucks, the Nissan 720, the 620, the Datsuns, the Sunny, which is my favorite, this one, the Hilux, which is also up there with the Sunny, and Mitsubishi, well, kinda with the Mighty Max. And then you have the B2200, the B2000, which are also very nice trucks. And they are very similar. Each have their little differences, but still, they all serve that purpose of being reliable every single day. Now, I thought that today we would just go over this. I'll make separate videos on this later. I'm sure it'll come up on the channel again, but we'll go over the mods that this thing does have. There's not too many, but with the little stuff it has, I think it looks really good. To start off, this front grille is chromed out. We have, obviously, very lower truck. Also, that guard at the front there, blacked out. These very nice BBS rims. The suspension wise, it has some springs, lowering springs of course, and some shocks. That is why it is sitting that low. If we go towards the back, you know, the usual lowering tactic for these trucks, since it does have leaf springs in the back, are those lowering trucks. Some of them have torsion bars, which you can loosen, tighten to adjust your height as well, which is very helpful. In the back, the same setup, same rim, same tire. A little cover just to clean things off, not have it open. Some people like these, some don't. They leave it open. Some put the hard plastic or metal tops on them. I like these. I think maybe the metal one would be a little better, but it does the job. In the back, normal tailgate, your license plate, tinted all around, looking very sleek. I think that tints make most cars look 100% better, and pretty dark tints, you know, not those little half light where, you know, you can't really even tell the difference. Here's the other side, the Tacoma badge, and I just washed it, so that's why it looks very clean. Don't let the looks of this truck fool you on the outside, because on the inside, on the engine bay, it is very, very stock. So stock, in fact, that it actually does pass smog here in California. Being a 98, you still have to use the dyno smog test. It's not the one on the OBD2. So all it has is a K&N air filter on the original airbox, though, of course, and that's it. It has nothing else. Some nice blue wires, but other than that, though, this whole thing is stock. You know, it does its job, and you don't really need to add much to these cars to make them look good, as you can tell from this. From this one as well. Even just, again, it's lowering blocks, some mud flaps, some very, very wide wheels and tires. Now, if we move on to the interior of this truck, we have a couple more parts to show off. For example, we have this steering wheel right here. It's just sitting on a nice little adapter, mobile on top. Tachometer, because the original did not come with one. It's a 5-speed manual. We have a nice little Alpine radio, stereo, some upgraded speakers on both door cards. They sound pretty good, actually. They get loud, and a little subwoofer right there in the middle. Now, with the size of this cabin, that subwoofer is plenty. It's more than enough. In my opinion, I think that just those two speakers, that thing right there, sounds very nice. Maybe add some tweeters just to get that little high end. Realistically, that's all you really need in such a small enclosed space. This one also has AC. Used to have an airbag, of course, on this side, but the passenger is still safe. If you hate them, though, you could turn it off right there. For the most part, though, very, very nice and well taken care of, original. We have this rare carpet on top that I know is very sought after. Right, so now we are gonna go on a little drive in this truck. Let me roll down the window so I don't suffocate myself. Oh, there we go. So here's another thing about this thing that I've thought, because I've driven this, I've driven the Nissan 720, and the interiors are very basic, you know. I think radios were optional in some of these things, but my point is, although they were basic, they didn't feel cheap. They felt very substantial. They felt like they could hold up, which we know they can, just because of the test over time. I'm sorry if the camera position is a little weird. I didn't have a place to really put the camera, but it all feels good. It feels like a car that's a couple years old. It does not feel like a car that is 30, yeah, almost 30 years old now. I think 27 years. And it feels smooth. You know, with these blocks, for the most part, they get a little rigid. You know, it gets a little staticky, bouncy. But it feels nice, it's planted. This one has power steering, so the steering is very light. Power steering was also optional in some of them. A lot of them didn't come with that. A lot of them didn't come with AC. So it was a very, very bare bones basic truck, you know, don't get me wrong. And it kind of reminds me of a K truck because of the very few things it has. It doesn't have very many amenities. It has roll-up windows, they're not power windows, you know, and things like that. But getting it on the road, maybe the big wide tires are helping out. It's very smooth. It takes the bumps decently well. As you can see, it's not too shaky. I think the camera stability helps. But I like the truck. It's nice, it's fun to drive, it gets revvy. You know, these engines always have that low down torque. But like always, a car that doesn't have a lot of power but is light is, for the most of the part, gonna be very fun, especially when you have a manual transmission. They get very fun to drive. For example, the Mini, although again a very cheap car back when it was made, it's very, very fun to drive. It's super revvy, it revs up quick, it's actually fast for what it is. That's kind of a trend that you notice. Small engine, lightweight car, revvy, not too much power, and you can have fun. That's realistically all you need. And this thing doesn't have any power mods, you know, but the feeling of the steering wheel, the feeling of the shifter, these little bucket-ish seats, you know, the clutch feels nice and light, the throws are good, it's smooth, I can accelerate, and it sounds good too. Yeah, this is a nice truck. I think the choice of buying it is valid. It's very justified for. Now, one thing I do got to get used to is going over some of these bumps and stuff, you know. I think with a very decent bump, I'm gonna start scraping. But that's just one of the things that comes with having a lowered car. I think that in the US, the Tacoma started in 1996. Before 1996, we had the Toyota pickup. It didn't really have a name, so it was just a Toyota pickup. And that was shared with the Hilux, which was shared across the world. So those two were about the same. I think in 1986 or 87, that's when we had a turbo model. And I'm pretty sure that's the only year we had a turbo model for the Toyota pickup. Very cool, very rare, and very sought after. You know, who doesn't want a turbo 22R? From factory, by the way. So, so after 1996, the Tacoma started here in the US, and it got rid of the original pickup. Now, we didn't get the Hilux after that. The rest of the world did. They didn't get the Tacoma. In my opinion, the Hilux is better. Maybe it is because we don't have it and the factor, you know, the forbidden factor. But I think that the Hilux looks better. As of truck to truck, you know, maybe there isn't an insane difference, but that's just my opinion. You know, driving this Tacoma though, I don't think we missed out on too much. You know, it still looks good. It looks up to par. And the engine's nice. It's fuel injected, and, you know, things like that. EFI, 16 valves. Right. So that was a quick little review of my new daily, the new truck, the Unkillable Toyota, and one of the best trucks ever made. So if you enjoyed, let me know. I hope you did. And thank you for watching. I will definitely make more content on this car. Definitely more to come. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Thank you and goodbye.